Let's talk about a job that's anything but ordinary, the Yakuza. This isn't your typical criminal underworld. It's a world that's both feared and strangely respected, woven into the very fabric of Japanese society. You probably picture sharp suits, elaborate tattoos, and missing pinky fingers, a Hollywood highlight reel. But there's so much more beneath the surface than what movies and TV have shown us. The real Yakuza story is far more tangled and fascinating, stretching back centuries into Japan's history. Their roots are entwined with the country's own evolution, from feudal times to the bustling cities of today. These weren't just criminals, they were outcasts who built their own society in the shadows. They created a sense of belonging for those who had nowhere else to go, forging their own rules and traditions. To understand them, you have to dig past the cinematic violence and look at their roots in feudal Japan. The Yakuza's origins are tied to the samurai, merchants, and gamblers who shaped the country's social order. We'll peel back the layers, from street peddlers and gamblers to a criminal empire that shaped Japanese culture. Their influence can be seen in everything from local festivals to the way business is done. How did they go from running dice games to influencing politics and business? The answer lies in their ability to adapt, survive, and sometimes even thrive in the face of adversity. It's a story of survival, adaptation, and a code of honor that's as contradictory as it is compelling. Loyalty and betrayal walk hand in hand, and the line between right and wrong is often blurred. The Yakuza left a permanent mark on Japan, for better or worse. Their legacy is controversial, but impossible to ignore. So grab a seat. We're diving into the untold history of the Yakuza, from their origins as misfits to their modern-day struggles. This journey will challenge what you think you know about crime, honor, and Japanese culture. It's not always pretty, and it's never simple. The truth is often stranger and more human than fiction. This is a story full of honor, betrayal, and grit. It's about the choices people make when society turns its back on them. Someone's got to tell it, and today that's me. Let's get started on this remarkable journey into the world of the Yakuza. To trace the origins of the Yakuza, we must journey back to the Edo period, a time ruled by samurai and shoguns, where society was divided by rigid social classes and strict codes of conduct. This era, stretching from the early 1600s to the mid-1800s, shaped the very fabric of Japanese life, and it's here that the seeds of the Yakuza were first sown. At the very bottom of this social hierarchy were the outcasts, the tekiya, who were traveling peddlers, and the bakuto, professional gamblers. These groups were shunned by mainstream society, forced to survive on the fringes. The tekiya made their living selling goods at bustling markets and lively festivals. They often operated in legal gray areas, sometimes bending or breaking the rules, and formed tight-knit groups with their own codes, leaders, and rituals for protection and survival. Meanwhile, the bakuto ran illegal gambling games in secret dens, marked by their elaborate full-body tattoos and a reputation for secrecy. Their world was one of risk, luck, and constant danger. The very name Yakuza comes from a losing hand in a traditional card game, Yakuza, symbolizing their embrace of outsider status and the hand that fate had dealt them. Both tekiya and bakuto lived on the margins, forging their own order and hierarchy where none existed for them in mainstream society. They created brotherhoods, offering protection and a sense of belonging. Over time, the worlds of peddlers and gamblers began to blend. Their groups merged, forming larger, more powerful organizations that would one day become the Yakuza. These were not heroes or noble rebels, just hustlers, doing whatever it took to survive in a harsh and unforgiving world. The tekiya brought a sense of order to the chaos of the streets, while the bakuto offered the thrill of illicit games and the hope of quick fortune. As their practices and traditions merged, they laid the foundation for the rise of the Yakuza, an underworld network that would grow in power and influence. These were the original underworld jobbers, building a criminal empire brick by brick, one deal and one gamble at a time. From outcasts to organized crime, their journey was one of transformation, and their legacy began right here in the shadows of Edo, Japan. The groundwork was set and the story of the Yakuza was just beginning. How did outcasts become a criminal powerhouse? Change. The fall of the samurai and post-World War II chaos left a power vacuum. The Yakuza stepped in, controlling black markets and providing goods, protection, and order when the government couldn't. They became a shadow government offering stability at a price. Their structure evolved into the Oyabun Koban system, a strict family-like hierarchy demanding absolute loyalty. This made them effective and hard to infiltrate. As Japan's economy boomed, the Yakuza moved into construction, real estate, and corporate blackmail. They mastered the gray areas of the law, embedding themselves in the economy. The journey from street gangs to corporate-style syndicates was complete. The Yakuza became a force woven into Japan's post-war fabric. Their transformation was as ruthless as it was strategic. The Yakuza's story is shaped by legendary figures. Yoshio Kodama was a political fixer, bridging the underworld and government, wielding power through influence, not violence. He used his fortune and connections to shape post-war Japan, working with politicians and even the CIA. Then there's Kazuo Taoka, the godfather of godfathers, who turned the Yamaguchi-gumi from a small gang into a national powerhouse. Taoka demanded loyalty, survived assassination attempts, and built a criminal empire with a corporate structure. He urged members to appear legitimate, making prosecution difficult. These men weren't just crime bosses, they were architects of a criminal conglomerate. Their legacies still define the Yakuza today. The Yakuza's relationship with Japanese society was never black and white. It was a complex dance, a tango of fear, respect, and necessity that played out in the shadows and on the streets. For decades, they were tolerated as a necessary evil, keeping street crime in check and sometimes even helping locals in ways the authorities could not or would not. In some neighborhoods, their presence was almost reassuring, a sign that order would be maintained. Their code, the Ninkyo-do, painted them as chivalrous outlaws, modern samurai protecting the weak and upholding their own sense of justice, even if it clashed with the law. After disasters, they'd deliver aid faster than the government, earning public goodwill and sometimes even gratitude from those in need. Their swift response in times of crisis blurred the lines between criminal and hero. But as their power grew and their crimes became more blatant, public opinion soured. Stories of extortion, violence, and corruption began to dominate the headlines, and the darker side of the Yakuza could no longer be ignored. The economic bubble of the 1980s made them rich beyond imagination, but when the bubble burst, it exposed their violence and predatory tactics. The illusion of honor faded as greed and brutality came to the forefront. The honorable outlaw image shattered, revealing a far more brutal reality beneath the surface. Turf wars spilled into the open, and citizens got caught in the crossfire. The violence was no longer hidden, it was now a public spectacle, impossible to ignore. In 1992, the Anti-Boryokuden Act cracked down, making it hard for Yakuza to operate openly. Police raids became common, and the government signaled a new era of zero tolerance. The law didn't ban membership, but it restricted their business and public presence, forcing them further underground and stripping away their legitimacy. The government drew a line. The Yakuza were now officially outcasts, no longer tolerated as a part of society's fabric. Their cozy relationship with society was over. The streets they once ruled now turned their backs on them. The era of tolerance had ended, replaced by suspicion and rejection. The Yakuza were on the outside, looking in, no longer the shadowy guardians, but exiles from the society they once influenced so deeply. Today, the Yakuza face extinction. Anti-Yakuza laws have made life nearly impossible. No bank accounts, no apartments, no jobs. Their numbers have plummeted from 180,000 in the 1960s to under 25,000 now. The average member is over 50, and young people want nothing to do with the life. The old Oyabun-Kobun loyalty system is breaking down. The promise of power has faded, replaced by hardship and marginalization. So they adapt, moving into white-collar crime, cyber scams, and international networks. Visible tattoos are rare. The chivalrous outlaw image is dead. Now they're seen as a nuisance, relics of a bygone era. The media paints them as desperate and fading. The Yakuza are caught between old rituals and new realities. Their world is shrinking, their influence waning. The job is dirtier, riskier, and less rewarding than ever. Survival means constant reinvention. The door to mainstream society is firmly shut. We've traced the Yakuza from feudal outcasts to digital age relics. They built empires on loyalty and fear, only to watch them crumble under new laws and changing times. Once accepted, even feared, they're now a dying breed, fractured, aging, and desperate. The dirty job of being Yakuza is tougher than ever. Here's a twist: for years, the Yamaguchi-gumi's headquarters was a public office in Kobe, listed in the phone book. They even handed out candy to kids on Halloween. the most powerful crime syndicate in Japan, giving treats to children. It's a bizarre, perfect snapshot of the contradictions at the heart of the Yakuza. Their story is messy, complex, and uniquely Japanese. And that's the real tale behind the tattoos and missing fingers.